Welcome, students. This session is for BA second year English Literature paper second, that is prose and fiction. And in this session, we'll continue with the story by William Faulkner, A Rose for Emily. Before we continue with the text of this story, let's have a recap. Through the mysterious figure of Emily Grierson, Faulkner conveys the struggle that comes from trying to maintain tradition in the face of widespread radical change. So, in this story, the writer gives a contrast that on one side, there is a widespread basic change that is coming in society, in locality, and on the other side, there is a struggle to maintain tradition by the character Emily Grierson. Jefferson is at crossroads, embracing a modern, more commercial future while still is perched on the edge of the past, of the faded glory of Grierson's home. So, this town of Jefferson, you can see a contrast. It's at the crossroads because on one side there is commercial progress and there are modern things happening, but on the other edge of Jefferson is the faded glory of Grierson home. These Griersons who were aristocrats and they are following the tradition of the past. Emily herself is a tradition, steadfastly staying the same over the years despite many changes in her community. So we see that this character of Emily is herself, she is a tradition and she is fixed over her principles for years together, though there are a lot of changes coming around her in the community. She is in many ways a mixed blessing. So you can see Emily as a mixed blessing to this town. As a living monument to the past, she represents the traditions that people wish to respect and honor. So on one hand, she represents past, she represents traditions, and people of this town, Jefferson, they respect and honor Emily because she is an old woman and she represents that tradition and the aristocratic class. However, she's also a burden and entirely cut off from outside world. But on the other hand, we also see Emily as a burden to this town because she does not pay tax and she is entirely cut off from this outside atmosphere, nursing eccentrics that others cannot understand. She has such an odd behavior which the other people of the town are not able to understand. Emily lives in a timeless vacuum and a world of her own making. So she's existing in a vacuum. That means she does not have that idea about time, that time has changed and the world has changed around. Rather, she lives in her own world of her own imagination. Refusing to have metallic numbers affixed to the side of her house when the town receives modern mail service, she is out of touch with the reality that constantly threatens to break through her carefully sealed parameters. So, here, how sealed she is, how fixed she is in her principles, we come to know when writer gives us an example that the town is having a mail service and the metallic numbers are affixed on the houses, and Emily, she refuses to have these metallic numbers on her own house uh, for this mail service because she does not know the reality, she does not know the change which is coming, and she does not break her own sealed parameters. She has her own sealed and sealed space where she does not allow anyone to penetrate or threaten. This new and younger generation of leaders brings in Homer's company to pave the sidewalks. And then we see this character of Homer, which is introduced because the young and newer generation of the city of Jefferson, they bring Homer's company to pave the sidewalks of the town. Although Jefferson is highly regards traditional notions of honor and reputation, so in this story, on one hand, we see that the people of Jefferson they have a lot of respect and of notions of honor for the traditional things. But narrator at times we see is critical of the old men in their Confederate uniforms who gather for Emily's funeral. But in this narrator, at times we see him critical when he talks about old men who have gathered for Emily's funeral in Confederate uniforms. So this is the story which is going on. We see the character of Emily, which is so fixed in her traditions, and there's this atmosphere of secrecy woven by the narrator. Now let's start with the text. Then the newer generation became the backbone and the spirit of the town. Now, this slowly time is changing, and the old people of the town they have left the administration, and now this town is under the administration of a newer generation. And the painting pupils grew up and fell away, and did not send their children to her with boxes of color and tedious brushes and pictures cut from ladies' magazines. So again, as I told you, that this story moves back and forth in time, writers referring to those times when the women and young girls of this town they used to come to Miss Emily for their china painting lessons. But now the times have changed, and these girls who used to paint in their times when they were young, they just stopped coming to Emily's place for any more lessons of china painting, and neither did they send their children to her to learn this sort of a painting. And he talks about the time when the girls used to come with the pictures cut from ladies' magazines and learn painting from Emily. The front door closed upon the last one and remained closed for good. So when these girls stopped coming for painting lessons to Emily, the front door of this house it closed, and then it remained closed for good. When the town got free postal delivery, Miss Emily alone refused to let them fasten the metal numbers above her door and attach a mailbox to it. So, as we have discussed in the recap, uh, here a writer gives one example of the fixed mind of Miss Emily, that she does not allow any change in the house, and she does not allow people in the town to fix metallic numbers to her door for the mailbox. She would not listen to them, and she did not listen to anyone for this. Daily, monthly, yearly, we watch the Negro grow grayer and more stew. Now, time is passing, and the Negro servant, who was quite young in the beginning, is now becoming old. So, this image shows that Emily, who is living inside the house, is also growing old. And he continues to go in and out with a market basket. Each December, we sent her a tax notice which would be returned by post office a week later, unclaimed. So whenever people of this town, the administrators of this town, they used to send her a tax notice, the notice returned to them without getting received by anyone. Now and then we would see her in one of the downstairs windows. Sometimes people caught glimpse of Emily Grierson sitting in some of the window downstairs of the house. She had evidently shut up the top floor of the house like a caravan torso of an idol in a niche, looking or not looking at us. We would never tell which. So she after some time shut the top floor of the house, and people were able to see her sitting in the down floor windows, and she used to sit in those windows just like an idol in a niche, like without any movement, like a idol. And the people could not guess whether she was looking at them or not looking at them. They were not able to tell the mood of Miss Emily. Thus she passed from generation to generation, dear, inescapable, impervious, tranquil, and perverse. So, this way, he tells the nature of Miss Emily, and she passed on from generation to generation. The generations of this town they got old, and the newer generation came, and Miss Emily behavior remained the same. And so she died. And with this nature, with this behavior, one day she died. Fell ill in the house filled with dust and shadows, with only a doddering Negro man to wait on her. And one day when she died, her house was all filled with dust and shadows, and just a Negro man was there present in the last days of her life. We did not even know she was sick because she did not meet anyone outside, so nobody even knew that Emily was sick those days. We had long since given up trying to get any information from the Negro. People were also so used to this whole scene that they stopped asking any sort of an information from that Negro man, and they did not even know that Emily was sick inside. He talked to no one, probably not even to her, for his voice had grown harsh and rusty as of disuse. So this Negro man always remained silent. He did not talk even to Emily. And whenever he spoke, his voice was quite harsh and rusty, as if he did not use his voice often. So he was a completely old silent man. She died in one of the downstairs room in a heavy walnut bed with a curtain, her grey head propped on a pillow yellow and moldy with age and black of sunlight. So here he gives a picture of the dead body of Miss Emily, that she died in a downstairs room on a huge walnut bed with the curtains, and her head had turned grey, and the pillow was yellow, and his head grew moldy with the age, and she did not receive a lot of sunlight, so her body looked quite like a mold. We'll continue the story in my next session. Thank you.